recording and live.
Thank you. I think I'll go ahead and call to order the City of Newburyport Historical Commission meeting for March 28th, 2024. I'll start off. It looks like we do have enough over a quorum, so I'll go ahead and start a roll call. Chris Fay.
Present.
Mark Syndrome.
Present.
Andrew Bernhardt.
Here.
Chris Sawtell.
Present.
Ed Neumer. Doesn't look like he's here. Alan Marquis is rejoined. See him.
He has not yet, but we are expecting him.
Okay,
I'll let you know when he joins.
great. I don't see Glenn yet. And Biff Baus, acting as chair this evening, is here. So I think our first order of business is we have one demo delay to review. Then we've got go over the review of the draft that Glenn wrote up and approve that, and then on to general business. So we'll start with the demo delay application for 74 Purchase Street. And not sure who we have representing. Looks like David Curie. Is that?
That's correct.
Great.
Good evening.
Thanks for joining. Do you want to go ahead and let us know what your plan is here?
Thanks very much. Yeah, I'm on behalf of Andrew Williamson and Karen Colthow of 74 Purchase Street. This is the home as it exists, and I'll just read for you the next sheet, which is the memo regarding this. They're planning a small addition to the home on 84 Purchase, and their wish is to add a breakfast nook and to the kitchen and a mudroom space, add a master bathroom on the second floor, and the attached drawings and photos, which I'll show you down the road here, show the addition. Regarding the scope of demolition, the main house and two-story rear addition will remain intact, but there's a one-story addition, a later addition that they would like to remove in order to create the new addition. And we'll refer to the drawings A1, A3, and A4 next shortly to show that along with the site plan. So the intention is to be respectful, obviously, of the original Greek revival and not alter that main structure. And then we also hope to kind of subtly differentiate the new additions from the historic structure. Slightly different siding, trim detailing, and window patterns, which I'll show you when we get to those.
Yeah, and let me just jump in real quick, David. Just so you know, at this point, we'll just be discussing just the historical significance of the home. Then if it gets to that point, then we'll be reviewing any demolition plans you have.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Go ahead and continue.
Well, then we'll go right to the next slide then, and you all may want to stop me on this.
I will note that we do have Alan Marquis just joined us for the record.
Great. Hi, Alan. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Great. And it looks like we will be able to use your vote as an alternate.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. I'm sorry, Mr. Carey, you can continue.
Sure. So on the district data sheet, we have 74 as a 1840, circa 1840 Greek revival with an 1895 late Victorian alteration. That may be what the side piece is that we're speaking about. And site plan, this is Purchase Street. You all can stop me anytime if you want to speak of, or would you like me to go through the entire thing and then have you?
If you have some slides of just the neighborhood contacts and stuff like that, we can
Yes, we
take
do.
a look at that.
Yeah, so this is just from the My Map showing where on Purchase Street the property is, kind of across from Neptune, right down the street from the church, which is there. And then we can go to the next slide for street views, looking at the home on the top left and top right. We're looking east toward the home. So the view of the home on the top left picture, it's the white home. You can see the diamond window of the stair beyond the yellow house there. And then crossing the street, but looking the same way, you can see the home and see the houses across the street from it. And then from the other side, looking west, bottom left, the home is the white home beyond the peach colored home. On the left, you can see the church beyond it on the left, a few lots down. And then again, from the same, just crossing the street, looking in the same direction, you can see the houses across the street from the home. On the next slide, we have the home itself, which you can see the Greek Revival front porch, left view, all center direct view at the front, and then right view up along the top. The bottom slide, the bottom photos show to the bottom left, you can see the one-story piece that they are intending that they would like to remove in order to create the addition. And you can see the next photo, a better picture of it, directly looking at it with has a single window there and a doorway on the left side rear picture. And then there's just a picture from the rear yard. It's quite, as you saw, quite a long, thin lot. You can see there's actually a structure, a garage and kind of a three-season room there. And you can barely see the small addition there. And then the last picture, right side rear, none of that is really being touched.
Okay.
That's it for photos. The next slides are the site plan.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'm going to open it up to the fellow commissioners here and find out if anyone has anything to comment, any questions about it, if they've had time to review. Mark, you have
Is there any information as to when that shed at the back was actually added, or is that part of the original building design from when the house was built?
I do not have the information, but I believe because of what it said on the sheet there, that may have been the addition of. It seems like that would have been the alteration that they referred to in the 1890-ish range. But I'm not positive.
Is it are the footings under the house, under that addition, are they different than the rest of the house, or is that apparent?
There is brick there, but I believe there is no entry into that from underneath from the main basement. Currently, it's just a wall there, so we couldn't get under that.
Gotcha. All right. Anyone else on the board have anything to say? Any questions? And if not, I would be open for a motion for if this house is considered historic.
So I'll make the motion that this house is considered historically significant.
And it's Andrew.
Mark second.
It's Andrew. I was second.
All right. Thank you. All right. So we're voting on this home is considered historically significant, excuse me. Let's see, we'll go down same list I have here from before. Chris Fay, how do you vote? Chris?
Yes, sorry.
Okay, that's right. And Mark Cendrone,
Yes.
Andrew Bernhardt,
Yes.
and Chris Sautel.
Yes.
And let's see, Alan Markey.
Yes.
And I also vote in the affirmative, and the ayes have it. So now I would, unless anyone has any questions, I'll move on for, look for a motion to, if this house is considered for preservation or not considered preservation.
It's Andrew, and I move that it's considered for preservation.
Thank you, Andrew. Is there a second?
I'll second that, Chris Fay.
Thank you, Chris. Sorry, I'm jumping back and forth between screens here. All right. Go down the same line there. Chris Fay, how do you vote?
Yes.
And Mark Syndrome,
Yes.
thank you. Andrew Bernhardt,
Yes.
Chris Sawtell,
Yes.
Alan Markey,
Yes.
and I also vote in the affirmative. All right, so that passes. Now, Mr. Carey, we'll go on to review your plans.
Okay, thank you. The next slide shows just the site plan existing, and the bump that we will be considering is just to the left of the word concrete walk. There's a concrete walkway. Yes, thank you. And that bump there is the 1-story piece that we'll be considering. The next site plan shows the addition of square footage toward the property line. And the next slide is the architecturals of what's going on there. So to the left is the 1-story piece, which is made up of a lavatory and entryway. That's the piece that we are proposing to remove and replace with a bigger mudroom and a breakfast table area. And that's first floor plan. Second floor plan is a master bathroom above, to the right. So part of it's a 2-story piece, as you can see, and a 1-story hip roofed structure behind it. On the next slide, we show the elevations from the rear. First, on the left side, you can see the 1-story piece there that we're proposing to remove. And to the right of that is the other view of that same structure. The new piece is down below. So to the left, you can see the hip roofed breakfast nook, and the master bathroom above is this 2-story piece. And then from the side view, the bottom right drawing shows the new 2-story piece and 1-story breakfast nook to the left of that. The siding, I don't know if you'd like me to get into siding and materials, or we can talk about that after just the general view of it, but we'd like to differentiate it in a kind of a subtle way with some of the detailing, simplify the detailing of the rakes and soffits, and also the siding is a newer product called Acre siding, which is a shiplap, horizontal. And the original siding on the house remains, the clapboard, 4-inch clapboard. And this would have more of an 8-inch reveal. And our hope is to kind of make this subtly different, but feel to go with the existing home, just to show the age of the new addition. Other than that, there's nothing happening to the main house. If we go to the next slide, I guess you can see this is the front view from at the top left existing. And then you can see bottom left behind it, the new entry that is the new piece. Everything to the right stays the same. The west elevation on the top right, the only change we'd like to make is there is a very large window up in the attic that is right at floor level. Seems out of place and big. there. Our proposal is to replicate that nice diamond window that's going up the stairs to the left and place. It seemed to be a nice proportion there to place something there. So other than that, on that west elevation on the bottom right, you can also see the bump out of the addition beyond the main two-story structure there to the right. And that's about it.
Okay. I guess I will open it up to our commissioners for any questions, comments, concerns, that sort of thing. Can always pick on people, but I figured if you really have something you want to say, you can speak up. Andrew Bernhardt.
I'm curious, are they removing a chimney? Am I seeing that?
Yes,
I
they
did.
are.
Okay.
And it looked like on
Chimney is
the,
not a fireplace chimney, but was, you know, but I was probably a coal chimney in the kitchen.
I'm assuming you're removing that to make some room in that part of the house, the addition.
Yes.
Okay.
On both first and second story.
Gotcha.
Main chimney, there's a fireplace that was covered up, and their intent is to use the main chimney and to fix it. And they'll have a wood stove at minimum in the front room, so they're excited about that.
Me too. Anyone else have comments or questions? Mark? You're still on mute there.
There's something that strikes me a little bit strange, and I'd appreciate an explanation of this. When I look at the rendering left bottom, the roof seems to stop and is not in continuity with the building itself. What's the architectural explanation for that? What are you trying to do there? It does seem like it doesn't integrate as well in the whole structure.
Let's see here. I guess if we go to the rear elevation, back one. Yeah, I guess Mark, you're talking about where we
Yes,
stop it there and
exactly. Yeah.
keep the window. Personally, I liked that better as an aesthetic rather than one that goes all the way across. And so it was kind of a conscious decision to do it that way, to kind of create. It's a small, everything. People say small. It's a nice bathroom actually, so I shouldn't say small. But it's kind of differentiated from the hallway to get to the bathroom, and allowed that window on the third floor to stay. It's funny because one of the original thoughts was, I did have it going all the way, and it didn't seem as I personally felt that it was a better form just on its own. And maybe the fact that because we're doing an addition that is new, we're saying, that in this case, I thought, all right, let's separate it a little bit as opposed to connect. If that ridge went all the way across, in either case, we have some water issues to deal with. We've dealt with it this way with now kind of a sidewall and a shed roof, which comes off that main rear building. So yeah, it truly was just a choice, and felt like the better choice in that, because it saved the window and kind of made that new structure a piece unto itself, as opposed to connecting it all the way back. That definitely would have been another choice to make, and there would have been some water issues to resolve in that with that design as well.
Okay, thank you.
I'll just add on there. I was looking at it again. I noticed, is that a skylight that's proposed in the addition there in the
In the attic?
on the east elevation?
Yes, there is, yes.
And what is that? Something, it looks like the chimney is either being shortened and then something else is being removed. I was trying to figure out what that was. Do you see what I'm seeing on the right pictures, the top
I
and the bottom?
do see what you're saying, and that could be architect error. I can't see why.
Okay,
That line should not be as high.
okay,
Yeah, the chimney is staying just as it is.
all right,
And
good to know.
Yeah.
All right, Chris Fay, you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question, David. So if I'm looking at the house, facing the house on the left-hand side as it is now, it's looks nice and clean, right, from front to back. And then I'm curious because of the artist's drawings make it appear that the addition is coming out, like kind of creating two wings on either side. And can you just give me an idea of whether or not that's just my misinterpretation of the drawings, or if it is coming out, how far is that new addition coming out? So if I'm standing on the street, how much of that addition am I going to see?
7.5 feet. We can look at I suppose the site plan, or, well, probably
Maybe
the
that next page.
page A4 is probably the best view of it.
Yeah, there you go.
And,
On the
Right.
bottom left there.
Right.
yeah, my client and I were just talking today about, he thought it might be nice to have a rendering of that view, because obviously there's perspective involved. And I think if you went to one of the photos, this, as in all flat drawings, you don't get to see things as they would appear. So if you're walking by on the street, obviously that structure would not be as prominent because it's toward the rear of the building. Yeah, I guess the best way to get a sense of that might be to go back to the photos, I think of the house. Yeah, you can see, yeah, I guess the top left photo where how that would come out beyond those windows. So you'd be walking back the length of the main house to get to that piece. And then when you look at
So
the
if
other
I'm
side,
looking at that,
you can kind of
Sorry,
get a
go ahead.
sense of it actually if you look at the street side right view, top right view. That's kind of what it would look like, but it would be further back, a little further back.
so it's
Right.
coming out approximately the
Uh,
same distance as the current side bump out.
No, so it bumps out further. It bumps out 7.5 feet. That one, I believe, bumps out 4 feet.
Okay. So that to me, I'm sorry, I'm getting pop-ups, believe it or not. That to me is a bit of a concern because of it does sort of, I don't know, it just looks like it's sprouted a wing. And like I said, it's, that Greek revival to me is just nice and clean as an architectural style. It does have the addition that was put on who knows when, but so I'm just expressing that concern on my part about sort of compromising the integrity of the design, I guess, of the current house.
Mhm.
Uh,
I will say I do see a lot of L's, with Greek revivals. Maybe that goes back to Mark's thinking on that was the connection, connection as opposed to not connecting on the roof there.
Okay, thanks.
Chris, are you kind of reacting to the asymmetry of it? Part of it?
Well, it's not only asymmetrical, but even if it was a symmetrical addition, so it was matching the one that was the bump out on the other side, that I still think it would look. I don't know. I'd have to live with it, I guess, for a long time to get used to it. I get, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody put that bump out. Maybe it's a dining room. Who knows? At what point all these houses have similar things like that probably predate any historic commission or any,
Sure.
who knows, any sort of laws or concern about that. But it just, the addition, the proposed addition, since I can't see from the streetscape what's being proposed to be demolished, to then add a second. We're not adding a second story, a 2-story addition in the back of the house. We're adding it on the side, and that just strikes me as concerning, I guess would be the word.
Okay.
Just personally. Thank you.
Mark, Cintron, you had another question or comment?
Yes, thank you. Looking at the drawing of the house from the street, there is no window on the addition except a row of windows up above, which also kind of break the symmetry because the bump out on the right-hand side has window. Would be the one looking at the house from the street, maybe the next. Yes. So again, the left bottom rendering, the door, and above that there's no window and maybe some small windows at the top, which kind of break the symmetry of the house, given the fact that on the bump out there are 2 windows on there. What was the reasoning behind putting those small windows rather than the normal size window?
Well, it fit the room better to bring the light in. The fact that it's a bathroom kept it private, but then above and beyond that, it kind of goes back to, I think, the kind of the way the historic commission, correct me if I'm wrong, prefers sometimes that the addition speak to its own age and not, and I've done plenty that are the exact same detailing as the old, but in this case, it breaks a little from that. And the thinking was that let's come up with something that works with the existing, but it does not 100% replicate it. So saying that this is a 2024 ad as opposed to trying to be a 1875 ad or whatever was truly the thinking behind it. Maybe it's a little nod to, I've done others that have had kind of the same thing with some clear story windows. So that was, even the roof overhang there is a little more modern looking above the door as opposed to a traditional roof.
Okay, that clears up a little bit for me, but following what Christopher was saying was that it does bump out a fair amount, and I think trying to integrate it better with some symmetry compared to the other side might help mitigate that large bump out that definitely would make it quite visible from the street. But again, that's personal comment.
Okay.
All right, is anyone else interested in any comments or any other discussion? Alan, yes, go for it.
I think I would go along a bit with what Mark said. I feel like that the addition on the left side seems to put the house out of a little bit of imbalance, and to a certain degree distracts from the actual style of the house, the original style of the house. So that would be my only concern. That's really, I understand trying to make it stand out so it does not look like it was part of the original, where you're trying to match that, but there's a definite feeling of being imbalanced, especially with the smaller addition having the windows that both elevation wise and look like sidewise are in the same location. I understand the idea, but behind the windows being small, it being a bathroom, you need light, but you don't want to, you also want privacy clearly. But I would say that would be my only concern with it. No, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Alan. Chris Sotelli, you have something?
Yeah, like Mark and Chris had mentioned, the symmetry on it, when I'm looking at the bottom left diagram of this is, it's, yeah, the symmetry is what's is the key word on this. And I understand and respect the idea of an addition not being strictly perfect to the original house. As a matter of fact, the Secretary of the Interior standards say that an addition, a modern addition, should differentiate from the original house, as to not have future confusion on that type of work. But this, if it was more streamlined, even like almost the same roof elevation as the piece that's on the right hand side, I think would help. But it's just that it looks, it's just not symmetric. It's just my own personal opinion. I mean, I live in an old Georgian that everything is very linear and perfect. But it's just the symmetry on this just has me wondering, and that's my personal opinion.
Okay, thank you, Chris. I assume, Alan, your hand is still up. You don't, unless you have another question.
I don't, I'll take it down.
Okay, thank you. All right, I did see that our normal chair has joined us here.
Yeah. Yeah, hi
uh,
Biff. Yeah, carry on. I joined while Christopher Fay was talking. I was a bit late, but yeah, carry on. I would only comment on this, that the same section you guys were just talking about, that sort of notch that's created by the fact that the gabled roof there doesn't join up to anything on where at the main house is a bit odd. But I'll just leave it at that because I missed a lot of your conversation.
okay, thank you, Glenn.
Is
I
that
guess
Glenn? Or is that Michael McDonald of the Doobie Brothers?
That's me.
would you all like me to comment on, because I do feel that
Sure.
I understand that when looking at a drawing at it in a two-dimensional way, that perhaps symmetry, even the Greek Revival, there are just so many that are gables. I'm thinking of homes and, so many homes that are an L or a wing, and there really is no symmetry, quote unquote. So I'm not sure. I mean, there's no symmetry when you look at this home. The porch, the portico, is placed to the right. There's typically, I don't see a lot of homes that are always symmetrical in the Greek Revival. Oftentimes I see them asymmetrical. I'm thinking of a house and barn connection, or the L connection. Perhaps the L not matching up is something that the homeowners and I would review. But I know that as you walk along the street there, we're looking at 7.5 on the left and 4 on the right. That 3.5, you will never see that. You'd never see as you're walking along the street the fact that the right side is not symmetrical with the left side, equidistant. And I personally, if I was even designing something new, I wouldn't do it that way just so that the front view was perfectly symmetrical, unless the home that I was designing was, that there was strong reason to do that. I think asymmetry is a perfectly reasonable way to approach a Greek Revival. I'll just add that to the commentary.
Thank you, Mr. Carey. I'll just comment a few of the things that, just from my perspective, I do agree that the detached sort of roof is probably the thing that stands out the most, and I would agree with you. I think that the asymmetry in these Greek Revivals is most often not the case. That usually the doorway is almost always to one side, and even the windows don't necessarily line up. But I think what the other commissioners have or kind of commenting on it is that the other additions that were done, I'm assuming that the main box of the house was built first, and these several L's were tacked on at different points. But those all seem to follow kind of a pattern at least, and then you have this one sticking out. And I would agree that the Secretary of Interior standards, it's confusing as far as it needs to stand out as something new, but it also needs to blend in with the existing. It's almost contradiction, but I think that there's so many different things about it. I think it's the asymmetry a little bit. It's the detached part of it. It's different, window fenestration, different thickness of the clapboards, adding another, door facing the front. I know that'll be quite far back, but I think that's one thing that kind of, at least from the elevation view, stands out to me, is that you've got this lovely glassed in front door off to the right, and now you've got this other maybe front door, or you're not quite sure what it is, off to the left. But I think the placement of it is really skewed in these elevations. Some of our other applicants have started putting, like, maybe that's kind of a 3D rendering or a 3D drawing at a little bit of a skew angle. I think that in instances like that, I think that helps us a lot, to be able to see that. But I think those are the things that we're all reacting to.
Well, I do have one.
Okay.
And my client and I talked today, and I'd been away, and it had gotten done while I was away. And I thought it was smart to do it from the rear. And my client reminded me today, it might be better if it was from the front, so everybody could see what it looks like as you walk by in the front. I've done projects in the past where I've shown them. I have one. I don't know if I can put it up on that, but it's a rear view of the addition. I don't know if that's helpful to you all to see that. I didn't include it because after we spoke about it today, we thought, yeah, it probably would have been better to have a front view.
Yeah, a front view would probably be better for our considerations. But Glenn, did you have something to say?
Yeah, sorry. Just want to warn you that I'm gonna have to move or relocate, and I'll drop Wi-Fi. So I'm gonna have to drop off, but I'm gonna dial back in. So you'll see me, or Caitlin will see me pop up as a telephone caller. Sorry about all that.
No problem.
All right, thanks.
All right. Does anyone else have any further comments, questions, or if anyone is feeling so, then they want to maybe make a motion that this house is considered preferably preserved? If I can get those words out.
Oh, excuse me, Biff, it's Caitlin.
Yeah.
I do want to mention that we do have, I think, one of the owners that was raising their hand, and also wanted to remind you of the public comment period that we should have at some point.
Oh, sure. Thank you. Thank you so much. I see, Karen?
Yeah, hi, it's Karen Kulpa. I'm one of the owners, and I just thought it might be helpful to clarify that bump out on the right, to me, appears to be original to that front of the house. So it probably was part of the original house, as far as we can tell from basement and structural stuff, as far as we can see. So it started out pretty asymmetrical as well.
Sure. Thank you. Anything else you wanted to mention, or is that covered?
No, just thank you for what you're doing, and we've lived in the neighborhood for a very long time, and do want to do right by our town and neighbors.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that. All right.
I do have a question.
Sure.
As to just how the board works with regard to the removal, the demolition piece. Is that the next thing that will be considered, or the one-story piece as opposed to, you know, the design of the new addition?
Well, yeah, after we, as Caitlin reminded me, after we have a public comment period, assuming anyone has joined and has any comments, we'd move on to someone would make a motion that the home was preferably preserved. And if that vote passed, then the house would be under a demo delay until, you know, other plans could be submitted and would be reviewed again. And if it was voted not preferably preserved, then you could go on to the ZBA or whatever your next step would be.
Okay, and that's the house in its totality, including the one-story piece?
Correct. All right. So Caitlin, is there anyone that appears to be joining for public comment? If there is, if you're on Zoom, raise your hand and we can call you out. And if you are on the phone, what is the let's see, *9 to raise your hand?
It looks like we have no public comments tonight.
Okay. All right. Well, then I will throw it back to our commission here. If anyone has any further comments or if they would like to make a motion. There's my cricket sound effect. So, would somebody be willing to make a motion that the home is preferably preserved?
I'll make that motion. Mark Sandron.
Thank you, Mark. You have a second?
Second, Chris Sawtelle.
Thank you, Chris. Okay, and Caitlin, I am correct that if the and the way I described it to Mr. Curie, correct?
Yes, you're correct.
Okay.
You're correct. But you know, Mr. Curie, you can come back, get that demo delay, you know, lifted if it does pass, you know, in the next meeting or two. So no worries.
All right.
Okay,
So we are voting if that this home is preferably preserved, and we'll go around the same list I had before. Chris Fay, you're first.
I'll vote yes.
Thank you, Chris. Mark Centron.
I'm a bit ambivalent about this. I don't know that the changes are all that significant, but still I'm a little troubled by the appearance of the roof, and symmetry is important to me. So I think I'll say yes, even though I do that reluctantly.
All right, a reluctant yes. I don't know if I can note that in our official notes, but Andrew Bernhardt.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Chris Sawtelle.
That would be a yes.
Thank you. Alan Markey.
Yes.
And I will join them in affirmative, so that as passed, that the house is considered preferably preserved. So, Mr. Carey, yeah, that does mean that the no demolition permit can be issued at this point, but the next 12 months, unless you can come before us again and give some a new presentation, and we can go through that vote at that point.
all right. If the commission has further notes or anything, I guess I've heard based on the comments, perhaps roof line on second floor, and perhaps not to differentiate in material at all, perhaps, or at least, or perhaps in fenestration.
Yeah, I think
I mean,
I
a more
think,
traditional.
I think
would-
a combination of those things or a few of those things would probably, at least, it sounds like it might satisfy several of us. So I hope we gave you at least some guidance or kind of info about how we're feeling about it to help you go through that next period of redesign.
All right,
All right. Thank you.
thank you.
All right. Next on our agenda is the review of the draft advisory report for 311 Merrimack Street. I will assume that we all able to read through that at some point over the last week or two. Is there any comment, any questions, suggestions about that letter? All right. How about a motion to approve the advisory review?
I'll make the motion to approve the advisory review as written.
Thank you, Chris. Any seconds?
Andrew, second.
Thank you, Andrew. Right. Chris Fay.
Yes.
Thank you. Mark Sandrone.
Yes.
Andrew Bernhardt.
Yes.
Chris Sawtell.
Yes.
Alan Markey.
Yes.
You. And I vote in the affirmative as well,
And-
so that passes. That sounds.
Okay, and
is that-
Biff, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, just want to let you know that so I heard all that. So thanks very much. I'm glad that the report was okay. And so what I'll do, Caitlin, is well, I might not be able to do it tomorrow, but anyway, I'll remove the draft nomenclature from that and make sure you guys get it in the planning office. If not tomorrow, then Monday.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
All right. That's next order of business is the relating to the letter for 14 Payson Street. If you all recall, that house came before us and we voted that it was preferably preserved, and they have gone back to the drawing board and it looks like they've removed any roof line changes, and so basically the planning department is saying that we should lift that. Caitlin, I'm not sure on how we approach this in a formal way, as a vote or as a proposal, or how that works.
The zoning administrator is looking for a vote. So I think an appropriate vote would be, to lift the current delay that is currently on 14 Payson Street, pursuant to the plans that were presented to you at your prior meeting.
And so would we, I guess I'm just confused because it seems like because the changes have are no longer under our jurisdiction, I guess, so to speak, that we don't really, there's not really a choice here. So I guess it's just a matter of that we just need to formally lift that demo delay. Is that basically the case?
Yep, it's a formality. We are joined here by that applicant's attorney, Ben Taylor, if he wants to comment. Ben, did you have anything to add?
No, thank you, Caitlin.
Okay.
You pretty much explained everything I had. Thank you.
All right, very good.
All right.
Yep, so if you're right, it's a formality, just lifting kind of like the technicality, lifting that demo delay that's just on an older set of plans, which are basically invalid or void at this point.
Okay. And is it appropriate at all to give any comment from any of us about the new plans, or is it not, since it's not under
It's not really under your jurisdiction at this point, and in fact, went to the ZBA on Tuesday and was approved. No, there was no roof line change or anything involved in that current set of plans.
Okay. All right, well, in that case, I would love to hear a motion to approve the lifting of the demolition delay for 14 Payson Street.
Yeah, I'd be happy to make that motion to lift the demo delay as it's now moot. It's Glenn.
Thank you, Glenn. Anyone second?
I'll second Mark Sendron.
Thank you, Mark. All right, Chris Fay,
Yes.
Mark Sendron,
Yes.
Andrew Bernhardt,
Yes.
Chris Hotel,
Yes.
Alan Marquis,
Yes.
Glenn.
Yep, I'm in. Yes.
Hmm.
Aye.
Thank you. And affirmative for me as well. So the demo delay has been lifted for 14 Payson Street.
Thank you.
All right. And one more, I'm hoping to get a lovely motion to approve the minutes, assuming you've all had a chance to read through those as well.
Yes.
Andrew, is that a
I
motion to
make
approve this?
motion to approve
Okay.
the minutes.
Thank you, Andrew.
I just said yes, I read it, but yes.
Okay, there you go. I tricked you. Hey, can we have a second for that?
Second, Chris Fay.
Thank you, Chris. All right, Chris Fay.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, could you please repeat the motion? I missed it.
Oh, sure. Yeah, we're voting to approve the minutes from March 14th.
All right, thank you. You can put, as long as I got that thing on, you can put me down as a yes.
Okay, thank you, Glenn. Mark Sendron,
Yes.
Andrew Bernhardt,
Yes.
Chris Suttel,
Yes.
Alan Marquis,
Yes.
and I vote yes as well. So the minutes for the 14th have passed. All right. So no updates, I assume. Let's see, Andy is not going to be joining us. Is that correct, Caitlin?
That's correct. He cannot make it tonight, so he won't be needing to give an update tonight, and we'll just push that update to a following meeting.
Okay, thank you. Well, I think we've run the ship into the ground, so to speak. So I'd love to take a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Hold on, Beth, just a sec.
Oh, sure.
Sorry. It's my understanding we're going to be meeting in person the next meeting. Is that true?
That's a good question.
We are going to be meeting most likely in person in your second meeting in April. So April 25th
Okay.
at the senior center.
Okay, thank you.
Room to be determined.
Well, I'll be excited to be all in the same room with y'all. If you will be, I don't know. Let's see.
Actually, we do have a room. I see. I just checked the calendar in the boardroom. So
All
we'll
right.
start off on the right foot.
Nice.
All right.
Excellent.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
All right. Thank you, Mark.
Second, Chris Sutton.
Thank you, Chris. All right. Motion to adjourn. Chris Fay,
Yes.
Mark Sandrone,
Yes.
Andrew Bernhardt,
Yes.
Chris Suttel,
Yes.
Alan Marquis.
We.
We're French tonight. All right. Glenn Richards.
Yep, I'm in favor, and thanks so much, Biff, for taking the meeting. I really appreciate it. Great job.
Oh, thank you. I tried my best. And I also vote yes to adjourn. So that motion has passed and we are formally adjourned. And I thank you all.
Take care, guys.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night,
Good night,
y'all.
everybody.
Everybody.